You just took your test on fair decision making, and now you're going to take a moment and watch the video and grade your exam. So the first question says, Maya buys a chocolate strawberry vanilla cake for 14 bucks. Maya likes some flavors more than others. Her preferences are as follows. She likes chocolate twice as much as vanilla, and vanilla twice as much as strawberry. So let us choose X to be the amount that she likes strawberry to be. So X is equal to the amount, or the value amount, the strawberry is worth. Well, she likes vanilla twice as much as this. So she likes vanilla 2 times this amount. So this is equal to the amount the vanilla is worth in Maya's eyes. And then she likes chocolate twice as much as vanilla. So 2 times 2x, which gives us 4x, is equal to the amount value of the chocolate portion of the cake. So we are given that the cake was $14 altogether. So if we take the amount value of the strawberry, which is X, plus the amount value of the vanilla, which is 2X, plus the amount value of the chocolate, which is 4X, this has to equal $14. So notice on the left-hand side of the equation, we have like terms. We can add all those together, x plus 2x. This gives us 3x. And then we have the 3x plus the 4x. Those are like terms, so we can sum those together. That is 7x is equal to $14. We want to get x by itself. We can divide both sides by 7. And when we do that, we get x is equal to 2. So X was the amount value of the strawberry portion. So over here, the strawberry portion in Maya's eyes is worth $2. Vanilla is twice that amount. So 2 times 2, this is $4. And then chocolate is worth twice the amount of vanilla. So 2 times 4, which is $8. Or we could have just said 4 times X, 4 times the amount of strawberry, which is 4 times 2, which is $8. So when you're grading this, go ahead and give yourself full credit if you got this correct and you showed your work and it was in a clear, organized manner. So question 2 uses the information from question 1. We're still dealing with the same cake. That is chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. Maya takes the cake above and splits it into 6 60-degree wedges. This is shown in this figure below. Using the figure, answer the following questions. So what is the value of the piece 3 for Maya? So when we do this, we need to go back and need to think about this. She felt that in each section, because this is 360 degrees divided by 3 different flavors, each flavor has 120 degrees. And so when we look at this, let's look at piece 3. And so piece 3 in here is all strawberry, but that is only 60 degrees. And so we want to figure out the 60 degrees, how much is this worth in her eyes, when she believes 120 degrees, we found here, was equal to $2 in her eyes. So we have a proportion. Let's just do our cross multiplying, and we get that 2 times 60 degrees is equal to 120 degrees times x. And so we get 120 is equal to 120x. Let's divide both sides by 120, and we get that x is equal to $1. So she believes that the slice 3, piece 3, is just worth $1 in her eyes. So now we want to look at this and we want to figure out what is the value of piece 2 according to Maya. Well, piece 2 in here, this is 30 degrees of vanilla and 30 degrees of strawberry. Well, 30 degrees of strawberry, we can reason in this fact that it's half of 60 degrees. And half of 60 degrees, which is equal to 30 degrees. Well, we know that the cost here is $1. So 30 degrees of strawberry in her eyes is worth 50 cents. Or half $1. We could have set that up as a proportion also. The other piece, and we can, let's just do that with this piece. So the other piece here of piece 3, or piece 2, I'm sorry, is 30 degrees was the strawberry. 30 degrees though is vanilla. And so let's look at that as a proportion. So we want to try to figure out what is the value of the vanilla there. And so 30 degrees over X. And we know that 120 degrees of the vanilla in her eyes was worth $4. So 4. So if we cross multiply here, we get that 30 times 4 is equal to 120 times X, or 120 is equal to 120X, or X is equal to 1, or $1. So for the vanilla, that portion of the cake, that 30 degrees, is worth $1. So we have that $1 in her eyes is worth the 50 cents for the strawberry plus the $1 for the vanilla. So piece 2 in her eyes is worth $1.50. Okay, so now we want to look at piece 6. So let's go up here and see what piece 6 is made of. So looking at piece 6, we have 30 degrees of chocolate, and we have 30 degrees of vanilla. Well, we just saw that from above that this 30 degrees of the vanilla was worth $1. So now we want to figure out what is 30 degrees of the chocolate. We know that 180 degrees of, or not 180, 120 degrees of the chocolate is worth $8. So 120 all over 8 is equal to what? 30 degrees is cost of what? So if we cross multiply here, we get a 120x is equal to 30 times 8, which is 240. Divide by 120, we get x is equal to $2. So the 30 degrees of the chocolate in Maya's eyes is worth $2. So we have the $2 plus the $1, which gives us $3. So piece 6 is equal to, like we said, the $2 plus the $1, which is equal to $3. So out of all these pieces, which piece would Maya choose? And what would the value of that piece be? Well, we know that Maya prefers chocolate over any other flavor. And so notice that piece 5 here has all chocolate. So she wants all that chocolate. And so she would choose piece 5. Well, that's 60 degrees. 60 degrees of chocolate is worth how much? Well, we know 120 degrees of chocolate is worth $8. And so if we do our cross multiplication again, we get 60 times 8 is 480. is equal to 120x, divide by 120, and we get that x is equal to 4. So she would value piece 5 at $4. And then what would you choose and why? Personally, I love vanilla cake with vanilla frosting, so I would choose piece 1. But you might have a different preference, and so give yourself full credit on that last piece if you answered it and you explained why. So you can see what each piece is worth. Part A is worth 4 points. Give yourself 4 points if you got the correct answer and you showed your work. And it was in a way that it makes sense. Same thing with B is worth 4 points. C is worth 4 points. D is worth 4 points. And then that last one, your preference, was worth 2 points. Question number 3 says 3 players, Alexis, Brendan, and Chris, are sharing a pie. Suppose that the pie is divided into 3 slices, S of 1, S of 2, and S of 3. The following table gives you the values of each slice and the eyes of each player. And so Alexis views that the first slice is worth $5.50, second slice is worth $4.50, and the third slice is worth $5.75. So let's go through here and total the value of each slice together for each person. And so if you add $5.50 plus $4.50, that's $10, and $10 plus this $5.75, this gives us $15.75. We're going to need to know what the fair share value for each person is. And so if you take this number, $15.75, and divide it by $3, I'm sorry, not $3, 3 people, each fair share for Alexis has to be $5.25 or over. Brendan, he views that the first share is $4.50, the second share is $4.25, so that is $8.75, and $8.75 plus the $6.75 gives us $15.50. If we take that amount and we divide it by 3 people, you would get that his fair share is about $5.16. Chris, though, he views the first slice as $4, second slice as $5, so far $9, and $9 plus the third slice, which is $4.75, is an amount value of $13.75. If you split this up among 3 people, that value would be approximately $4.58. So what dollar amount does each player consider to be at least the considered fair share? So we actually did that right above. So Alexis is $5.25. Brendan, he views it a fair share would be $15.16. And Chris, his fair share would be at least $4.58. So going above, we want to circle the fair share for each player. And so Alexis has to have, the slice has to be $5.25 or above. And so Alexis believes that slice 1 or slice 3 would be a fair share. So Brendan, his value though, a fair share is $5.16 or above. So $4.50 is not enough, $4.25 for slice 2 is not enough, but $6.75. He only values the third slice as a fair share. Christopher, or Chris, his value is $4.58. So the first slice is not worth enough. Slice 2 is $5, so that's enough. And the third slice is $4.75, so that's more than $4.58. So if you look at this, Brendan has to have the third slice. That's the only one that he finds is his fair share. So he gets slice 3. This goes away. Alexis or Chris cannot get slice 3 now. And so that leaves us with Alexis getting slice 1 and Chris getting slice 2. So dividing the pieces of pie that way, everybody walks away feeling that they got a fair share. So this first one is worth 6 points. So give yourself 6 points if you got those numbers and you showed how you got them. Part B is worth 3 points. So go ahead and give yourself 3 points if you circled the correct pieces that each person considered a fair share. And then part C is worth 3 points. Go ahead and give yourself 3 points if you have divided it up that every player feels like they have a fair share. So moving on to number 4. Number 4 says Sally Sue and Billy Bob are getting a divorce. Except for the house, they own very little and of value, so they agree to divide the house fairly using the method of sealed bids. Sally Sue bids $100,000 and Billy Bob bids $90,000. So what is the final outcome? Okay, so for a sealed bid, the person who bids the most gets that amount. So Sally Sue bid $100,000 for the house, where Billy Bob only bid $90,000. So the house goes to Sally Sue. But she just doesn't get the house. She has to pay half the value. She only gets half of the value of what she thinks that is worth. So she thinks that a fair share would be $50,000 or more. And so she has to pay the pot. So she pays the pot $50,000. Okay, so Billy Bob doesn't get the house, but he gets at least half of the amount of what he believes his fair share of the house was. So Billy Bob, he gets $45,000, half of $90,000. Dollars from the pot. You can call him BB, Billy Bob. So if we look at that and this pot pays out $45,000, we have $5,000 that is remaining in the pot. Okay, so we have $5,000 left in the pot. So we're going to divvy that up among the players, and there's only 2 players. So 5,000 divided by 2, this is equal to $2,500. So Billy Bob, BB, he gets this $45,000 from the pot plus this $2,500 that was split up. So he is going to get $47,500. Where Sally Sue, SS, she gets the house, but she has to pay some money out, and she's actually just paying Billy Bob. Billy Bob gets the $47,500 to Billy Bob. And so looking at this, this is what they both walk away with. This problem altogether was worth 8 points, so give yourself 8 points if you figured that out. And again, that you showed your work in a clear, organized manner that's easy to follow. So let's look at number 5. We have 4 partners are dividing a parcel of land valued at $240,000 among themselves using the lone divider method. Using a map, the divider divides the property into 4 parcels, S sub 1, S sub 2, S sub 3, and S sub 4. The following table shows the value of the 4 parcels in the eyes of the partners, but some of the entries in the tables are missing. So part A, we want to fill out the rest of the table above. Well, we know that the sum of all 4 pieces is worth $240,000. So we can figure out what the first parcel is worth to Abby by summing what the other 3 are worth. 50 plus 50 is 100, plus 70 is 170,000. And so if we took 170,000 minus the 240,000, from the 240,000, we would get that this parcel of land is worth $70,000 to Abby. Bianca, she feels that the first is 40,000, second is 80,000, that's 120. 120 plus 55,000 is 175,000. So if we took the 240,000 minus, what did I just say? Let me just do 120, 175. This gives us that this amount for parcel 4 in the eyes of Bianca is $65,000. Carlos believes that the first is 110, second is 40,000, so that's 150,000 plus 30,000 is 180,000. So if we take 180,000 from the 240,000, this is going to give us that parcel 4 for Carlos is worth $60,000. Well, if you're the divider, then you are going to divide every single piece in an equal amount, and you're going to divide it depending on how many people you're dividing it among. There's 4 people, and the total amount was $240,000. And so the divider is going to take that $240,000. He's going to take that amount, divide it by 4, and we're going to get that each parcel should be worth $60,000. Well, notice that none of these people had divided everything in terms of $60,000. Daniel will see that S sub 1 is in 60,000, so he must have been the divider, and he would then have every piece of parcel worth $60,000. So the divider is always going to divide everything equally, all the pieces equally, in the amount that he thinks is a fair share. So what is the fair division of the property? Well, so everybody who thinks that the property would be a fair share would have to be $60,000 or more. So let's go through and let's circle each piece that is a fair share for each person. So Abby thinks that the slice piece 1 is worth enough because it's 70,000, and she thinks also property S sub 4 is also an equal value or above her fair share of 60,000. Bianca, the only thing, I guess she likes a couple things. Bianca likes S sub 2, and she also likes S sub 4. So this is a 60,000 or above, well, above 60. Carlos, notice that he likes S sub 1, and he also likes S sub 4. Daniel, he gets whatever's left over after we give Abby, Bianca, and Carlos their fair share. Okay, so I would give Bianca right away. She's the only one that likes S sub 2, well, besides Daniel. So let's give Bianca S sub 2. So S sub 2 goes away and Bianca goes away. And so now we have Abby and we have Carlos. Well, Abby, she likes either S sub 1 or S sub 2. Same thing with Carlos. He either likes S sub 1 or S sub 2. So our answers could vary here. We could give Carlos S sub 1. So if he got S sub 1, then Abby would have to get S sub 4. And Daniel, doesn't matter, he's stuck with S sub 3. Or this could have been swapped. You could have given Abby S sub 1, and if you gave Abby S sub 1, then you would give Carlos S sub 4. You didn't have to have both answers, but you had to have either this or S sub 2, S sub 3. This. Okay, so the first part, fill in the rest of the table, is worth 4 points. Give yourself 4 points if you got that correct and you showed your work. Second part, who's the divider? That was, and I didn't put it in here, Daniel. And then how did you split it up as a fair share? Okay, so let's go to problem 6 now. So problem 6. Problem 6 says players, there are 4 players, A, B, C, and D, agree to divide 14 items shown below by lining them up and using the method of markers. The players' bids are as indicated. Okay, so what item did each player get and what items are left over? So in here, there's actually multiple answers that we could get. And so let's first start with C. Let's give C, because there's first 2 markers, there's 2 markers that end up at the first place, C or D. So we're either going to give C the 1 and 2, or let's put this down, or we're going to give D the 1 or 2. Okay, so let's say that we give C the 1 and 2. So let's just get rid of, C is going to go away in here. And so we're going to get rid of everybody's, well, not really. So now we want to look at where is the first marker that comes up after everybody's first marker. Okay, so B here is the first person to come up for the second marker. And so we're going to then give B what's in between, this first marker place and the second marker place. So we're going to give B, in this case, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so B goes away. Leftovers, well, from C to B, there's 1 in between that was left. So we're going to put a leftover of 3 in here. Okay, so now we're going to the third place marker. And the third place marker, we have A and D. And the first one that comes up. And the first one that comes up in here is A. And so A is going to get everything in between their second marker and their third marker. And so that would give us 8, 9, and 10 goes to A. And that would give us that we have a piece in between that is left over, which is number 7. And so D is going to get his last marker to the end of the items. So D gets number 12, 13, and 14 in this case. But there was one piece that was left over, which was 11. Okay, so this is one of the answers that you might have gotten, and if you got that, then give yourself full credit. Let's go down, and that's why I put both of these here, so I don't have to erase. Let's say that we did it a little differently, but instead we gave D these first 2, these 1 to 2. Okay, so let's get rid of D again. And this time we're going to again look at where is the second marker placed. The first second marker in here is A. So A is still going to get, actually no, A isn't. And I'm wrong. B is the first marker in here. So B in this case, E is going to get 4, 5, and 6. Same as before. Let's see leftovers. So leftovers, we still have this 3 is a leftover. And now B's gone. B's gone. And so if we look at where is our next marker. And so our next marker is A. And A stops here. And so A is going to be from 8, 9, and 10. And C only likes, actually let's see this, 8, 9, and 10. So what's left over? So we have 7 that's still left over in here. C though, his last marker is here. And so he's only getting that to the last piece. So he's only getting 13 and 14. So if he gets only 13 and 14, then we have 2 remaining pieces of 11 and 12. Okay, so you should have either one of these case scenarios. And if so, and you kind of showed it, then give yourself full credit, 15 points. Okay, we have one more problem to go through. So our last problem says for relatives A, B, C, and D must divide fairly an estate consisting of 3 items: a house, a cabin, and a boat. They are using again the method of sealed bids to split up the items. The players' bids are in dollars as follows. So player A, they believe that the house is $180,000, cabin is $60,000, and the boat is $16,000. Player B believes that the house is $200,000, cabin is $50,000, boat is $12,000. Player C, $190,000, $40,000, and $18,000 respectively. And D, house is $185,000, cabin is $55,000, and the boat is $10,000. So figure out which player gets which items, how much money each player ends up paying out or receiving at the end of the settlement. Make sure you justify your work and show how you're arriving with your numbers. Okay, so looking at this, the person who gives the highest bid for an item gets it. And so if we look at the house out of $180,000, $200,000, $190,000, $185,000, B gives the highest amount, and so player B gets the house. Okay, so now looking at this, let's go to the cabin. So the cabin, we have $60,000, $50,000, $40,000, and $55,000. And so $60,000 is the highest bid. And so A is going to get the cabin. Going to the boat, we have a bid of $16,000, $12,000, $18,000, and $10,000. And so the bid goes to player C. C gets the boat. Okay, so player D didn't get any items, but he's going to get some cash. So we need to go through and we need to figure out what all 3 items was worth to each player. And so if we go in here and we do a total of all 3 items, player A believes that all of the items that she bid for was worth $256,000. So her fair share amount is 256,000 divided by how many players there are, which is 4. And so 4 into 256,000 is 64,000. Sorry. If we sum B, all the items, 200 plus 50,000 plus 12,000, that gives us 262,000. If we take 262,000 and divide this by 4, then they believe their fair share, walking away with $65,500 of property worth or money, would be, they'd be happy. Player C, 190,000 plus 40,000 plus 18,000 gives you 248,000. Divide that among 4, and that's 62,000. Player D, all 3 items, 185,000 plus 55,000 plus 10,000. If you sum that up, you get 250,000. Divided by all 4 players, they would feel happy with $62,500 of property worth or more, or money. Okay, so let's see, how much does the pot get? So the pot gets the following. So for the cabin in player A's view was 60,000. But her fair share is 64,000. So she gets at least 4,000 right now from the pot. Okay, so this is negative right now, $4,000 from this pot. So let's go to B. B, looking at B, B got the house. This was worth 200,000 in their eyes. And so they got the house, which is $200,000. But that's more than his fair share. So he actually has to pay out, or she has to pay out the pot. So pays the pot. Well, they got $200,000 worth of property minus the 60. Wait a minute, what was I doing? So minus the 65,500. This is going to equal 128,500. So he got more than his fair share. So he has to pay the pot 128,500 for now. Player C, they got the boat. The boat was worth $18,000 in their eyes. But that's not their fair share. Their fair share was $62,000. So let's figure out how much the pot has to give them to get up to their fair share. So 62,000 minus this 18,000. This is going to equal, they get, where did it go? $44,000 from the pot. So minus 44,000. And then player D, they didn't get any of the items, and they feel that they need to walk away with $62,500. So from the pot, they get $62,500. So minus $62,500. And so if we sum this, so basically we want 128,500 minus the sum of 4,000 plus 44,000, or just sum up the negatives, plus 62,500. And so the pot has an excess, if you do this, after we pay out all the players, and the players who paid needed to pay, the pot has an it has extra of $24,000. So we're going to take the extra amount that's left over, and we're going to divide it among the 4 players. So each player from here gets $6,000. Okay, so let's look at this. So player A gets the cabin, and they get $4,000 from the pot plus the $6,000 of the extra cash. And so they're going to get, player A gets the cabin and the $4,000 plus the $6,000. So they get $10,000. So they're taking the cabin and walking away with $10,000. So player B is going to get the house. Let's figure out how much he's paying though. He has to pay out $128,500 originally to the pot, but he gets to then get $6,000 back. And so that's going to be so he has to pay so $128,500 minus the $6,000, so that's $122,500 he has to pay. Did I do that right? Sorry, he had to pay, I was wrong over here. I missed that when I was, sorry about that, when I was doing this. This should have been, let me pause. Player B, $65,500. This was off. Let me just calculate that again, just make sure. So we have the $200,000 was the house worth minus the $65,500. That gives us, yeah, it was off. $134,500 was what he had to pay before. I had this right when I was doing the math before, so you're okay. Sorry about that though. I don't want to start the video over. So actually that $134,500 that he had to pay minus the $6,000, that's where this $128,500 came from. This is what he has to pay out. Player C, they get the boat. They got some cash of $44,000 plus the extra of $6,000, and then they also get, so $44,000 plus $6,000 is $50,000 in cash. And then D, they didn't walk away with any items, but they get this fair share of $62,500 plus the $6,000, so they get in cash $68,500. Okay, so that's what everybody gets when they split up the estate using the sealed bid method. That was worth 4 points. I'm sorry, not worth 4 points. That was worth 20 points. Getting to be a long day, sorry. This is worth 20 points. Give yourself full credit if you showed your work and you could show it in a clear, organized manner. So sum up all the points you got for each problem and then total that and put the grade on the top of your test and submit that to Canvas.